So one thing over the course of time that I feel like has gotten me slowed down is editing. You're going to hear a lot of who is segments that are not edited. You might hear the ums and the ahs, but hey, I like it because it would be what live radio would be. Matt Klein, the head coach of LCA boys basketball, they have a game against Rustburg tomorrow. I kind of dove in a little bit, just even touching the surface, not even scratching it, but I just touched it on who is Matt Klein. I got his take on how he got started. I got his take on some Michigan sports, and I got his take on a previous gig he had as the assistant general manager of the then Lynchburg Hillcats. Now they're the Hill City Howlers. Here's Matt Klein on the Sports Buffet. Talking to Matt Klein, LCA. We're going to find out more about him that you may not know. So maybe not a lot of hidden talent facts, but we'll see. Talk about your background a little bit. What got you into coaching and everything?
Wow, great question. Well, I played a little bit of small college basketball, so obviously.
Where'd you play?
I played at Lakeland College in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. But basketball has always been a passion of mine. I played it since I think I started breathing. But I think where the coaching really came from is my family tree. I've got a lot of coaches. All three of my uncles have coached at really high level in high school, and my cousins have coached, and now I'm the oddball. I'm the only basketball coach of all of them, but it's just always been a thing, and obviously being in education and the ability to do what I can with young people has always been a passion of mine. So that's kind of how it started.
How'd you learn the game?
I don't know if I know it yet. We haven't gotten enough wins to show for it.
Where'd you start learning the game then? We'll go with that.
Yeah. My college coach, Coach Combs at Lakeland College, and ultimately ended up at Platteville and at the D2 level, was where it really kind of broke my teeth and learned some of the game. And then I had a really good opportunity to work under a couple great coaches in John Wyndham at Virginia Episcopal School. And then got to great opportunity to work under Clay Nunley at Randolph College, and two of the best basketball minds I've ever been around, and so I got some really good opportunity working with those guys.
Take one thing out of Wyndham, take one thing out of Nunley, and put together kind of the ultimate. What do you take out of each of those guys?
Wyndham was very much an offensive mind, and finding ways to get the ball into the hands of your best players, right? And just creating some opportunities to create mismatches. And then in regards to Nunley, the ability to prepare for our teams. Clay Nunley always had teams that probably weren't as talented, and so how do I find ways to win? Well, I got to prepare like nobody's business, and so that's why our scouts are so thorough and we prepare like that. So yeah, those are the two things I learned.
How often do you say you prepare for a regular season game?
Every single team gets many early mornings, late nights. Obviously when you're playing back to back, it's a challenge. But I have a luxury of having some coaches that fill in the gaps with watching a lot of film. Especially Coach Meredith breaks down all of our film for us. But we have pretty thorough scouts, and so I tend to watch a lot of film.
If you had to do a coaching Mount Rushmore of people you have not played for or coached with?
Oh, wow. I've always been a big-time fan of Coach Beeline, certainly at West Virginia.
And we'll keep it to basketball to make things easier.
Yeah. But obviously his days at Michigan. Jay Wright, just love his philosophy and his coaching style. Probably Coach K, just his ability to get the most out of his guys and his discipline. And then, who's my fourth guy? Let's go with I really am loving Dusty May right now at Michigan. Offensive mind, brain trust.
Yeah, Michigan. Now, talk about the fandom.
Wow. Born and raised in Albion, Michigan. Lived all over the glove that I talk about, but lived in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. So I have a lot of ties to that area, and a lot of family still there. So I bleed gold and blue, and so obviously I'm tied to it.
If you had to give me your top Michigan moment, top 2 or 3, whatever you want to do.
Well, 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, when obviously the national championship that
Right.
Michigan won was big time, but I think winning that Alabama Rose Bowl game was pretty special. Obviously, the first time they finally got over the hump over Ohio State lately, that was big. But that Alabama Rose Bowl game, after that game, I said, we're going to win the national championship. So that was pretty cool.
I know you from baseball. I met you when you were working in Lynchburg as an assistant GM, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What'd you learn?
Wow.
About life.
Yeah.
From baseball.
Yeah. You always stay on the grind. I've never had a job that I worked more hours, longer hours on my feet. I learned a lot from Chris Jones, the ultimate sales guy, and talk about relationships and things like that. But it was a pretty cool experience. I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. My wife is certainly happy I'm not doing it, but had a really good experience, enjoyed the time, loved the people, and, minor league baseball, and especially the Hillcats, are a staple in the Lynchburg community.
Define grind for me.
Grind. I think grind is doing something that doesn't always feel good, hurts, gets tiresome, but you just keep doing it because ultimately, I want my kids to realize something that they've never done. LCA's never been to a state championship. They haven't. I don't know if they've been to a state semifinal. They might have, but I want our guys to realize stuff that they never imagined, and the only way for us to do that is for us to be playing at our best, and that takes me grinding a little bit too. So a lot of work.
Final thing, we'll go behind the curtain with Matt Klein more in the future. You're not a perfect person. None of us are. But if somebody came up to you and said, give me a way I can be a good husband and give me a way I can be a good father, what do you say?
So the best advice I ever got from one of my uncles, not Kyle Alexander.
You knew that was coming.
But his older, less wise brother said, the best thing I can do for my kids is love, appreciate, and put my wife first. And so I try to do that. I'm not great at it, especially in the winter. I thank God I've got a unbelievably unselfish wife that does everything for our family. But I think putting her first, and certainly the Lord, and my kids, they've got to be prioritized over everything else.